All right. Mutes. Good morning from beautiful Columbus, Ohio. Ahead of what is actually the first ever SheBelieves Cup final. We've never really had a final before. We've had de facto finals. So tomorrow night should be a almost full stadium against Canada, and we'll take questions for Twila from the room, and then we'll go to our friends online. Questions for Twila. Do we have a mic? Mr. Kassouf.
Wondering, Twila, Jeff Kassouf, ESPN. Wondering first if you have an update on Naomi and maybe Sam. You said she was getting looked at for concussion.
Yeah, Sam is doing well and she's available, and Naomi had a thigh strain and is day-to-day right now.
And for yourself, I know you've kind of deferred to it being a team environment, obviously, but just in this period as you're kind of in this game and transitioning to, the assistant role in this next camp, I'm just wondering if you've allowed yourself to reflect on kind of what it's been like, and maybe if I know you've been asked if you feel like you've learned anything, but what this phase has been like.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm not focused on myself at this point. I have a job to do, and I'm just focused on, doing everything we can to win this next game. Of course, like as a whole, just looking at, where we were post-World Cup and the position that we're in now, just from everything in terms of the feel of the group, just some of the changes that have happened in the group, everything that we've been through, up to our last performance. I think it's just a really good space to be in, and I'm just really proud. But again, we have a job to do, and this is all about, preparing for the game that's in front of us and also preparing for a World Championship this summer, and that's what I'm focused on.
Steve with the corded mic here.
Steve Goff, The Washington Post. Twila, how would you describe Jaden's evolution and integration over the last 6 months to where she's become a scorer and a regular for this team?
Yeah, I think Jaden's always been a really good goal scorer. I think finding your niche in this team and being able to score consistently is quite a feat, especially as you're being integrated. And I would actually say, even though she's here, she's doing a great job. We're seeing great things from her, and we're really pleased. She is still, I'd say she's still in the onboarding process. She is still working on all phases of her game, excellent in a lot of them, and being challenged in some others. And I continually praise her, not only for her attacking efforts, but also her defending efforts. This is an area that she's challenged in. We're challenging her. She's accepted that challenge. She's continuing to grow in. And, sometimes she plays different roles in attack than she does in defense. In the last match, she was asked to play the roles that our 10 plays in attack and defense, which was different from her. She did a great job, and that just shows that we have some flexibility with her moving forward in the types of positions that we play her in. But she's growing in all of those ways, and I would say, even though everyone's super pleased and happy, and we all see who she is, that be patient, because there's more, and she wants that challenge to bring everything she has to the table.
Lakin, go ahead.
Hey, Twila, Lakin Lipman with Fox Sports. For the last 6 months, it feels like we've been talking about these young forwards just coming up. Obviously, Jaden, Mallory, and Katarina are back. When it comes to Alex, obviously she wasn't on the initial roster for the Gold Cup, came in, started a bunch of games, started the last match. What do you see from the way that she's been performing, and how does she fit with this group of younger forwards?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. I think it's about putting the whole group together, and it's not about young or old or less experienced or more experienced. It's about getting the right combinations of players with the right amount of experience and different strengths and weaknesses where they can cover each other in different areas, and also have some chemistry and make sure that they're all able to highlight their strengths. I think what we saw from Alex at the Gold Cup, especially coming in late after not an initial call-up, is just like what a true professional is. And all of that veteran experience that she has, is behind her. She can pick and choose from all these different experiences that she has to understand what she needs, what the team needs in a particular moment. And I think you see a lot of leadership. I don't know that most people would have characterized her her first qualities as defensive, but she's put in a major shift for us defensively across the whole Gold Cup, partnering with different defensive partners in our 9-10 press. and just done a really good job, been very, very consistent with back-to-back performances. You see she's involved with a lot of what we call our repeated moments in attack or predictable moments, getting out, recognizing early, anticipating earlier than most anybody, their team or our team, about when to make a run in behind when the ball's in the wide channel, and she just sets a real tone for us. But she's doing a great job, and I'd just say leadership.
Go ahead, Steph.
Steph Young from the Equalizer. Something Jaden said after last game was that she really wants to build towards consistent 90s for this national team. I don't think she's had a full 90 yet for the U.S., but I'm just wondering how much of that is, working obviously with her club on loading, knowing where she is in the season. Like you talked about integrating, you haven't reached her ceiling yet, and just like pacing yourselves with that.
Yeah, I think Jaden, that's something, if she stated that that's something that she desires to do, then certainly she's working on it. And, there's difference between the types of things that are required at the club level than there are at the international level in terms of just the speed of the game is different. The type of decisions that are made in pressing and things like that are different. And while there's a difference, it's definitely certain that can be worked on at the club level. And we have a great relationship with the Wave, and I know we're in partnership with them. But Jaden's a pro, and Jaden takes the next steps and drives her process. And like I said, she's open to challenges. She's very humble. She's hardworking. She wants to be better. And while the world is saying, yeah, she's here and she's arrived, and I agree, she's doing a great job, be patient because there's a lot more for her.
Har with Equalizer Soccer. Twila, what kind of game are you expecting from Canada? We know you played this team about a month ago in unplayable pitch, but tomorrow looks like it's going to be good. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about this morning as a team, just understanding, number one, it's a final. That puts a different feel on a game. It's a rivalry game. That puts a different feel on the game. The context of the last game, being what it was, puts context on the game. And the first thing is it is going to be a battle. And everything we do, we like to make it difficult for teams to play against us, and I'm sure they'll be trying to make it difficult for us. I think it'll be a bit more physical than this previous match, and I think one of the objectives for us would be to set the tone in all ways, but also continue to build off our last match, and there's a challenge in that for sure.
Anyone else? Go ahead, and then we'll go take a couple online.
Hi, Bianca with NBC Boston. Could you speak to Alyssa Nair's performance in the last tournaments this year and what her ability and experience brings to the team, especially as you look forward to the Olympics?
Yeah. Well, first thing I'll say is that we trust all of our goalkeepers. We are so lucky to have such a large player pool and very talented individuals. Goalkeeper training is one of my favorite things to get a peek at. It is very intense and hardworking, and they're very hardworking. Alyssa's just one of the most consistent players that I've been around. It's a joy to watch her in training. What you see in games is a byproduct of what you see in trainings consistently and in her club environment. I think everybody knows what she did for us at the Gold Cup, stepping up and being a goalkeeper for us in many key moments from the run of play, but also when it comes to stepping up in a penalty shootout, she obviously did in a major way. And again, her experience helps us. I think, she's another coach on the field. She's another coach at training. She's pointing out some of the things finer details that we need to make sure that we hit, and making sure they don't, fall through the cracks with, players that may be hearing it for the first time and not recognize right away the value that they have, and we're just really excited for her and thankful for her. We talked a little bit today with her, and I know she's also very proud of where she's at and where the group's at, and we know we're in a good spot moving towards the summer.
Let's go to Kyle Bond online. Go ahead, Kyle.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Twila, for your time. I really appreciate it. I know you've talked about Jaden a bit already, but I wanted to approach it from a bit of a different angle. She's getting all these important goals, but it doesn't seem like she's, the focal point in the attack where she's getting oodles of chances to score. So what is it about her that she's been able to make the most of those chances in front of goal in that way?
I think you highlight something in that our attack is not built around one individual player. And I that is by design. It's important that we have the ability to score goals from a variety of different ways. And even though we have these predictable moments for us that we're looking for, it's important that different people are filling different roles and able to recognize when they're the one that needs to maybe make an early run or get out ahead of the opponent for a cross. And then even in some of our second phase from open play, just recognizing that, as we recreate our shape, that somebody else may need to be the focal point in that moment. So Jaden has scored quite a few goals from what we call our predictable moment. These one-touch passes are coming from, or one-touch shots are coming from crosses that come from things that we work on regularly. And she's also scored a few goals that come from transition. And that puts her in a unique place. I think this last goal was a really good example of just how her offensive shape lended to where she was defensively, and then when we won the ball, she was in a very particular area of the field, which she's great at. And we actually spoke before the game that, it may take, a touch, a little wiggle, and a shot. And she's a player that's capable of seeing those things. I think to answer your question a little bit about her, what makes her such a great goal scorer, it's her focus, it's her calmness, and I believe that she's looking at beating the goalkeeper and not necessarily the person that's right in front of her. I think that's almost a given at this point, and it's more about beating the goalkeeper. And she's willing to take a risk on going back to the crosses, finishing crosses, willing to take a risk and hit a first-time ball, or even take a risk and make a well-timed run and assume the ball's going to get there as opposed to waiting for the ball. And that sets her apart from a lot of people.
Last two, Andrew Jones, go ahead.
Thanks as always, Aaron, and good morning to you, Twila.
Good morning.
I want to ask you with how you played on Saturday against a possession-dominated team in Japan, and how you were able to keep the width, take the spaces. Was that the best under you that you felt the team played, and how you highlight how Sam Coffey played on Saturday? And as also, do you have your eclipse glasses ready for today?
I'll start with the eclipse glasses. They were on my desk when I walked in. I wasn't sure what they were, and once I figured out, I got pretty excited. So yes, I'm ready for that. I'm really, really pleased with our performance against Japan. I think it highlights a lot of the things that we've been working on, both in attack and defense. And it kind of all came together, but I also feel like there's a challenge in there for us, which is to continue to get more efficient and effective in our goal scoring. I think we even left things on the table there, and that's important for us. I don't know if it's my most proud moment. I'd say it's just the last one, and I'm really, really pleased with it. But different games call for different things, and you don't play every single game the same way. And I think the key is picking what we do, our DNA, and choosing the right bits that we bring to the table against each opponent. And obviously it will be different versus Canada than it was against Japan. But the thing I'm most pleased about in the last game is, alluding to that shape that you talked about, we just created a scenario where we knew no matter what they did, we were going to have something available to us, that they could not take away everything that we do from us, and that it was just up to us to find what they gave us. And the group just did a really good job of, if they dropped off, we played in front of them. If they pressed a little bit higher, we played beyond them. And we were able to switch the point of attack and get them moving a little bit. And that just shows a real understanding of what it is that we're trying to do, and a confidence to do it against a really formidable opponent.
All right, the last question in Twila's last Match Day -1 press conference as interim head coach goes to Henry Bushnell. Go ahead.
The suspense.
I unmuted you, Henry. Can you unmute yourself? Yeah, that would be a bummer after that intro, if there's no question. Henry! Do you want to type your question,
Can you
Henry?
hear me now?
Yeah, go, Henry.
Gotcha. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry for the suspense. Charlie, just to follow up on, I guess what you were talking about in your last answer a bit, not that you've had a chance to analyze Saturday's game, what do you think made the press so effective? Was it something about the way the players executed? Was it more about Japan being committed to trying to play through it rather than skipping lines? What were the main factors?
I just think that, this is something that we work on regularly. I don't want to give, too much up, but there's always risk involved in that. And finding the right balance of splitting the difference between where you want the ball and where it could end up is really important. And it's something that players have to be committed to consistently, like reposition, recorrect, watch visual cues, things like that. And we want to play in the opponent's half as much as possible. So high press is just another way for us to play in the area of the fields that we want to. And the players were really committed to it, locked on. All of our substitutes did a good job, learning from what they were watching from the sideline and applying it as well. So I think we actually got better at it as we went. And all the credit to the players.
All right, let's get you guys into the mix zone. Thank you, Twila.
Thank you.